All right, man. All right. Hey, welcome to Let's Just Talk Fitness. I'm here with Joy Taniwha. And again, every time I bring somebody on my channel, you guys know I'm always excited, but this is also another special, unique person that I want to share, whose fitness journey I want to capture and share with you guys, man. So again, if you're watching this on YouTube, you already know, man, like, subscribe, click the link in the descriptions to my email list so you can level up your fitness. I send out weekly reports that'll help you with your fitness as well. Things that'll help, just promote your fitness, mental, physical. I even get down into my spiritual journey as well. And so just sign up, man, if you want to know more about me and just level up your fitness as well. But without further ado, I want to introduce Joy Taniwha. How you doing, man? How you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Good. Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you so much for coming on the channel, man, and sharing your journey, sharing what it is that you have to offer. I came across your TikTok channel, and immediately I knew it was just something about your journey and something about the content that you put that you put out that was just so authentic. It was so authentic. It was exactly, I think, what many people who may have similar journeys as yours would love to hear. And so I reached out to you, and this guy, he immediately just started just acted as if he knew me all his life. He was like, absolutely no hesitation. Usually I hear back, it take like a week to hear back from somebody. You're the same day, like, and the day after Christmas, this guy's dedicated, guys. So I really appreciate that, man. So just to start off, man, where are you from? Where are you from, man?
Yeah. So I'm originally from New Zealand, but I reside now in Perth, WA, which is Western Australia. We're on the left-hand side of Australia, and so we're probably on the hottest side of Australia.
Wow.
So 40 degrees is what we had in the last few days. So I'm not too sure what that is in your guys' weather terms, but it's quite hot. It's really hot. Yeah.
So 40 degrees Celsius.
I think so. Yeah.
Celsius. Wow, my goodness.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, there's even a time difference here. It's 3 here.
So it's 9 o'clock here.
It's 9 o'clock there. AM. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
On a Monday.
On a Monday. And it's still Sunday here, y'all. So this is really cool. He's in the future right now. That's crazy, right? He's literally in the future. That's amazing. That's amazing. Brother, it's so awesome, man. And I was a bit curious too when I learned that you were from New Zealand. What brought you to I guess Australia, if you don't mind me asking?
I think work was just a big thing. Like New Zealand's a beautiful place to live.
Absolutely.
But you're not making as much money you would when you're in New Zealand than you are here. So I love New Zealand. New Zealand would always be home, but because of work was quite good here from work here, and to provide for your family back home and stuff like that. No, it's a beautiful place too. Australia's just beautiful.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Tropical, right? It's a tropical continent.
Yeah, quite humid and hot.
Yeah.
It's quite deserty. Where I am in WA, it's quite deserty. So not as green as the rest of Australia, but beautiful in its own way. So yeah.
Awesome. How far are you from home?
Flight is 8 hours.
Whew, my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. My goodness,
8-hour flight.
Hey, it must be a really good paying job to go that far. So
yeah. Well, it's good. It's nice. Yeah.
Awesome. Right. Awesome, man. Awesome. Okay. If you don't mind me asking, what do you do? What's your occupation?
So I work. So I used to work up at the mines where all the digs and stuff now, but I've moved inland now to it's like. So I work as a manager at a store called Office Works. It's one of the biggest office supplies and stuff like that in Australia.
Awesome.
So I'm a manager there. So yeah.
Awesome. Absolutely, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. So it gives you your occupation. It still gives you that time and energy you have after work to still carry on your fitness journey. It's nothing that's so draining. Awesome. And I know now a lot of people are doing remote even, so that's something too that even myself I'm looking into as well. But that's awesome. Man. Manager. So that's go. Okay. All right. The big question, man. This is the question that I ask everybody that comes on that does an interview with me. I'm asking it to you now. Why fitness? What put you on this journey? What made you finally realize and just have that moment where you just said, I have to get serious. I have to do this.
Yeah, I think it all started. So both my parents were big, my mum and dad.
Yeah.
And I was they both passed away when I was at school. So I was still at school, and my dad passed away. He had a stroke on the road.
Sorry, man. Yeah.
No, that's okay. So he had a stroke, and then the police came to my school, and because he couldn't say anything. When you have a stroke, your whole side of your face just, and your
Freezes.
speech doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but the last words he said before he went into it is he just said my name and the school I went to. So that's all the police went off, and
Wow.
they came to my school and they took me. And the teachers came. They're like, "Oh, Joey, we need to speak to you." So we went into the office, and they just said that my dad had a stroke. So I knew before my mum and the
Wow.
rest of my siblings. Yeah. So they took me home, and then I went home and I told my mum, and then went to the hospital, and then my dad fell into a cardiac arrest.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
that's when everything just all comes together. And then the doctors pretty much told us he was a walking time bomb. So he was a big man. So he had strokes ready to happen in his head, and he had heart problems. He had diabetes. He had every sickness that you could probably I think of. And then exactly a year after, my mum was going into operation for varicose veins, unblock veins and stuff. But she was okay. But she had heart problems and stuff. But the doctors just said to her, for the long run, you'd be, it'd be good for you to get these veins unblocked, the varicose veins and stuff like that. So so she went into, it was supposed to be for a 2-hour operation, but she was in there for 12 hours.
Wow.
And then we're wondering, okay, what's wrong? What's happening?
Yeah.
And then the doctors came out and said that she died on the operating table twice. So yeah, so she came out. She was in intensive care unit for probably about a week, and then she was in a coma for about a week, and then she came out of it. She was, 1 week came and she was getting better, getting the strength back. In 2 weeks, she was walking around, and yeah, she was all good. And then the day she got told that she was going to come out next day, she was so happy. She went into the shower and she fell over and had a cardiac arrest. Wow. Yeah, and then didn't make it through. So I think seeing all those problems and basically living those 2 years in hospital with them, realized, that the weight factor played a big part in the reasons why the sicknesses that they had. And I knew that when they passed away, I was getting bigger as well. So I was quite a big boy when I was little. And I think that's just how us, we would call it like Maoris or Polynesians eat. We just eat for comfort. We just eat for, the sake of it, because it's there.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main thing was when I got to my heaviest at 256 kgs in my heaviest, and that's after my parents had passed away, and I think that played a big part of it. Like I didn't know what to do, didn't know how I was gonna basically move forward. And I'm still young, and my sister was young, and I had an older brother, but he was doing his own thing. So I was like, man, what am I doing? How am I supposed to keep going if we don't have parents, don't know what to do? Where do I live? I'm still at school. I've got 1 more year left at school. And so I made that choice for myself, and I said, okay, how am I going to do this? And then I moved to Australia, and I went to a place called Port Hedland, which is in the desert, like just red hot 50 degrees every day. Probably only rained like 3 times that year.
Wow.
And and being a 256 kg person, trying to walk was a mission, let alone trying to walk in the heat.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I had to so I was just like, man, how am I going to do this? And then I think I just said to myself, well, the only way I'm going to do this is probably like I was working, and I was working in a shed, and it's probably like 60 degrees in the shed with the sun and humidity and stuff. And these 2 girls used to be they used to go to this. They used to come to work, and I used to see them. They're like, man, I've got sore legs. I go, what for? Well, why? Why you got sore legs? Oh, from the gym. They went to the gym. I was like, okay. And then I was like, man, I want to be like them. Have a reason to be sore, not just because I was big, but because they worked out. So I was like, okay. I was like, maybe can you introduce me to your trainer or someone? I was like, yeah. No. And they're like, yeah. we'll do it. So I went to the house, and this is all new for me, so I didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
It was all too new, and I just went to him and I said to him, and then he came up to me when I went to his house, and he goes, "Do you know what, Joey? I've come to your work so many times, and I wanted to talk to you about fitness, but I knew one day I will find a way where you will come to me," because he didn't want to make that, to make that assumption that I needed it. He just wanted
Exactly.
to make that choice for myself to do it.
Okay.
And then he was like, "Man, you don't know how much it means to me that you've
Wow.
come to me." So, and then, yeah, and I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "So what do you want to do?" And I said, "I just want to lose weight. I just want to, I just want to just do things I can't do,
Yep.
and then say, okay." And then I say, "So what do I do? What are we doing now? We're going to do some press ups, or we're going to do,
Yeah.
some running
You're
or something
ready.
like that."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it. And then he just said, and then he said to me, "No, let's go into my house. Let's sit down and just talk."
It's up. Exactly.
I said, "All I need to know, I just need to know you, Joey. I need to know you first.
Mm-hmm.
Where you've come from, what's happening with you. What makes you happy, what doesn't, what." And I was like, "Oh, okay, this is different." Like
Yeah.
you would have thought, okay, yeah, let's go into the gym, but
Right.
nah.
Exactly.
But and I think that's what I needed, was to have that sense of the mentality side of things where I was at, because I think that's the hardest thing is, especially
Yeah.
for, I'm not a PT or anything, but I do. That's one thing when I see friends and that they want to come and train with me. I go, "Okay, what do you want to do, or what can you do, what you can't do?" Like, like
Mm.
I need to know these things.
Wow.
But I think when he told me, and he sat down with me for probably like 3 or 4 hours, and we just sat
Mhm.
and we just talked,
Awesome.
and then I cried heaps because I had to be vulnerable. I had to be
Absolutely.
me,
Yep.
and that's the hardest thing, was just to be
Yep.
me, and to explain, what troubled me, why am I the way I am, and yeah. So I think that's what the starting point was, just to change, and that's what he wanted me to do, change that mentality, and and yeah, nah. So that's just the beginning.
Absolutely.
I haven't even started training yet,
Well,
and
right. Exactly. Oh.
I've been through so much already. And then we just took small steps, and then so this was, he had a home gym, so I didn't even go to the gym yet. So it was
That's
just his
perfect.
home gym, so
Perfect.
which was good for me, because
Yeah.
it wasn't as big, and wasn't
Exactly.
because I've got so much, like in my head mentally, it would play like, I was like, "Oh man, people are gonna think I'm the
People are
biggest
gonna
person
see
they've
it.
seen
Yeah.
in their life, and
Yeah.
they're gonna be looking at me or watching me."
Yeah.
And but then he moved from where we lived, and I was like, "Oh man, now what am I gonna do?"
Oh man. Wow.
But I think the best thing about when I trained with him is that he put me in that place. So
Yeah.
when he did leave, or when I was on my own, I was able to do it. But the hardest thing was, I had to join the gym now.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. You have to take
So
that leap. Right.
yeah. So I walked around. There was only one gym in the town that we're at, and there's
Oh
thousands of people there.
wow.
So I was like, man. I'll be seeing the people I see all the time at work. I'll be seeing
Yeah.
the people I walk past, and I'm like, oh man. But then I probably walked around the gym like 5 to 6 times, just walking around.
Oh,
And then I walked up to the reception, and then they're like, "Oh, hello, how can we help you?" I said, "Just sign me up. Like, here's the money, and just sign me up." And they were like,
wow.
"This, no, no, it's okay. What we'll do, we'll show you around the gym." I said, "No, don't give me time to look around, because I will
You gotta
procrastinate,
leave.
and I'll just leave. I won't pay, because it'll just be too daunting." And I said, "So if you let me pay now first, then
Yeah.
I have no
You
choice."
have no choice. Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Awesome.
walked around, and then they like gave me the keys, and then like I had a hoodie on, and I had it over my head because I don't want people to see
Oh
me.
man. Yeah.
Um and then they gave me the key. They're like, "Okay," the cards are like, "Hey Joey, so yeah, you can go into the gym now. You can do what you need." And the thing for me was, even though I went through all this thing with my trainer first, I didn't even know how to use the machines.
Wow.
So I went. I was like, "Okay, I'll go the next day, 6 o'clock in the morning." It's probably the worst time ever, though. But
Yeah.
I said, "Okay,
Yeah.
I'll
But you
go six
went.
o'clock."
Yeah.
Oh, I went to the door. So I went to 6 o'clock in the morning, went to the door, and I looked, and it was so packed, and I just closed the door and I walked back out.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That
And
was
then
the first day. That was the first time. The first day.
the first time into the
Wow.
gym,
Wow.
yeah. And I
Okay.
didn't even go in because it was just so busy and so packed,
Yeah.
and I was just too ashamed. And then
Yeah.
I remember writing on my Facebook that day, because I wanted to document what I do and what I
So you're
and
documenting this. You're documenting all this.
I was doing it, yeah, at the
Wow.
beginning, and on Facebook, and I read on my status, and I said, when you go to the gym for the first day, but you don't actually walk in, you just look. And then
Mm.
and then you go home because it was just too daunting. And that's what I wrote on my status. And then
Wow.
that straight away I had people message me, Joey, I want to be there tomorrow, 6 o'clock, and I'll walk you in.
What?
So I had this man that I've never met before, and he was a 5-5 worker, and so he flies in, works for 2 weeks, then he flies back home. And he saw my message and he was just like, Joe, I'll meet you at that gym because there's only one gym there. Because I'll meet you at the door 6 o'clock in the morning and I'll walk in with you. And then I'll
Wow.
and then I did it. And then he
Wow.
was there. I've
He
never
showed
met
up.
yeah, he was there. I've never met him in my life.
Oh, that's
And he was in
amazing.
the door and he walked me in and then he was like, so what do you want to train? I said, I don't even know anything. Like
Wow.
you
Yeah.
show me and I'll learn off you. And then so yeah, we just trained for the first time and we did that for a few days and then he had to fly back home and I was like, okay, I'm more confident now. But I still had the
Awesome.
hoodie on and over
Yeah.
my head so no one
Yeah.
could see me. And
Yeah.
yeah, then just like more people came up to me and then I had to challenge myself. So I said to myself, okay, what am I gonna do to keep
Mm.
myself going?
Yeah.
There's gonna be days where I'm gonna have those down days, but I need to find that motivation that's gonna keep me going. So I signed up to do a city to surf run. So it's a
Mm.
12K run.
Wow.
And that's
Wow.
in Perth. It was in Perth here. And then I was like, okay, I have 7 months to
Yeah.
try and run, let alone I can't even walk
Wow.
12Ks because I was 256 kg. So I was like, how am I going to run 12Ks?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I just trained and I just trained for 7 months in the heat. So it's
Wow.
40 something degrees and I'm just walking and like I had probably my biggest obstacle then was when I was like
Mhm.
walking, and then a car full of like mine workers or
Yeah.
people that work there. They stopped on the side of me and they wind down their windows and they just like, why are you running? You're too fat.
Oh,
You're gonna have a heart attack. And then they just go, you should be eating McDonald's. And they grabbed their McDonald's chips and threw it at me.
wow.
And
Mm.
this was on the side of the road. And I think that was a breaking point for me because they
Mm.
realized, man, you could be so far into a journey, and then these people can just make you feel like you're back at day one.
Right. Exactly.
And then so I think I cried then and I just
Mm.
said to myself, oh, it's not even worth it.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? And then I said to myself, I have two options. I either get up, keep going, and I have nothing to prove to anyone but
Exactly.
myself.
Exactly.
Or I can sit here and just say, okay, no, I'm done.
Yep.
I'm done. But I got up and I kept going. And I think that was the pushing point for me. It was so hard. And I was at work and some of the people at my work knew I was training for the city to surf and um, they'll come in and so I was trying to think, okay, who can I raise money for? So I had a week left before I did the run and
Yeah.
I did it for Beyond Blue with men with depression and mental health problems. So I
Wow.
raised money
Mm.
for that and I raised $25,000 in 1 week.
Awesome. My goodness, man.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
it
Bro,
wasn't like
congratulations.
And then like
Wow.
people came to my work and they're like, Joey, here's some money. I said, no, you need to go online and put it through there so it goes straight to their bank account, it doesn't come to me. And then
Exactly.
people were just like, no, well, here's $100. Let's go towards your flight to the run. And I said, no, no,
Wow.
no. I said, no, no. They go, no, no, here's some money. And people were just coming in. And then the day of the race, there was probably 40,000 people running. And I was like, and they were like doing sprints up and down the road, like warming up. And I'm sitting there going like this, I am the biggest person here. And
Mm.
I like I said, I'll be tired before I even start running if I'm going to
Yeah.
warm up.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because I'm a person like I'm a person that just like I laugh about things
Yeah. 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 I got you.
because
To
I
get,
don't want people.
yeah, to
Yeah.
push through.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like yeah yeah and then
Mm-hmm.
it was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. And
Yeah.
then like I was getting messages from people from where I was working at the time, and they were like, "Joey, are you okay? Did you make it? Are you all right? Do you need
Uh,
anything?" Joey, and then so like, Joey, how'd you go? How'd you go? Did you do it? So it became a thing on the line when I was on the line, the starting line. I said to me, it wasn't even about me now. It was about
it's
those who
about those.
supported me. It was
Exactly.
all those people that
Exactly.
believe that I can do it, and I'm here now.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah, but the thing for the first, because I've been doing it for 5 to 6 years now, but the first
Wow.
2 to 3, five to probably the first 2 to 3 years was all about my mentality and changing my mental status,
Exactly.
more than trying to go to the gym go and eat whatever I need to eat to be healthy. I said my mental game needs to be on point before I even do that.
Exactly.
And that was that was like for me, and like people always go, oh, you need to go to have an operation, you need to have those those things like that. People were saying that to me. They're like, you're too big, you need to go and have the operation. And I was like, no, not really.
Wow, exactly. You can do this.
And I said, I put myself in this position. I'm sure I can get myself out of it.
Wow.
It's just going to take me a bit longer than everyone else. And I said, and that's the journey that I'm on now. I'm still going. Like it's never like people always going to go, what weight do you want to be at? And I just said, oh, it's a matter of me looking in the mirror and say I've done it.
Exactly.
More than a number. Because I said numbers can be so daunting and daunting, and so I never put a number on where I want to be in life. I think it's like I said, I just want to be in the mirror, look in the mirror and say I did it.
Exactly.
And that's the hardest thing, is to recognize the problem, acknowledge it, and then try and work on it.
Exactly.
And that's what I did. It's just amazing how the journey is going so far. Like I'm still big now, but I'm not as big as what I was before.
Absolutely.
I could never walk 100 meters or not even 10 meters without sitting down, having a rest, and suddenly like I'm going to have a heart attack.
But you said a very important thing. Even before we look at the physical, look where you are mentally. I mean, like that far exceeds anything, I think, physical. You know what I'm saying? Like physically, anybody can look any type of way, but then you can start talking to that person and you realize just how messed up they are. It's like you look so good out on the outside, but in the inside, mentally, you're not there. You need help. So oh my goodness, man. I was swelling as you're talking about this. You can keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt you if you're still
No,
going.
that's all right. No, yeah, that's great. Like whatever things that I love bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I've always like most of my friends are bodybuilders and stuff like that. And I remember I went on Instagram and I looked up a guy named Joshua Lenardowitz, which is the number 1 bodybuilder for Australia, number 9 at Mr. Olympia.
Mr. Olympia, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so he came 9th, but he's number 1 in Australia. And I looked at him because he was so humble, and I was like, man, if I ever wanted to be someone, I would be like him.
Yeah.
And then there was this competition called Arnold's.
Arnold Classic.
Arnold's,
Arnold Classic.
We have one here in Australia.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to fly to Melbourne and I'm going to go and meet him. And so I had to pay $1,000 to get in because I wanted the VIP ticket so I could get to meet him.
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Josh Lenardowitz. Yeah.
Oh wow. My goodness.
So Josh Lenardowitz was my go-to person I want to go and meet for the first time, and I had to wait in line for 2 hours. I waited in line for 2 hours to meet him, and I was with all my mates, and then we're like probably sticking next person, and then it was us. We're going to go walk up to him and meet him, and Josh Lenardowitz. And then as I was walking up there with my mates, Josh turned around and looks at me and goes, "Hey, you're Joey." I was like, "What?" And my friends like, "Did you just say your name?" So like, "Did you just say your name?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." Yes. Okay, Joe. I just firstly, before you even say anything to me, you guys, I just want to say that you're an inspiration to me. I was like, "But I'm nothing. I've done nothing. I've never won anything." And then he was just like, "It doesn't matter. You're winning in life, and that's all that matters." And one of the things that he said to me that I probably hold forever is that he goes, "You might not know, but you're probably doing it totally different to everyone else." He said, "You're working from the inside out." And he goes, "And that's the hardest." And he said, "And that's what you're doing." And he said, "I saw that on Facebook and I watched you. I watch you every day, Joe. You're my motivation." I was like, "But how can I be your motivation? I've done nothing." And but he said, "But you're moving, you're living life, and like I said, you're doing it from the inside out. Where people just do the outside, make themselves look good, but the inside they're just, they're struggling big time."
Exactly.
Yeah. So he's been my mentor, and then like he'll message me now and then, and like these are people, and like my friends are like, "This is the number 1 bodybuilder in Australia." Yeah, I know. But it's little things like that I appreciate. Like you don't even know who you're inspiring. Like I didn't even know he was watching my stuff, and he's I should be saying whatever he said to me to him.
Right.
Yeah. So it's the journey is never. Like I always tell my friends, they were just like, "Man, how do you keep going? What motivates you?" And I said, sometimes it's not even about motivation, because motivation comes and goes. I said it's about being consistent and enjoying the process. I said because it becomes a chore, and when it becomes a chore, no one wants to do
No
the
one wants to
dishes.
do it. You're right.
You know, yeah.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah. So and that's why I said like yeah, and I said like it's just like because I love singing, I love to
Oh,
sing,
wow. Oh,
and I said I'm not good at it, but I love to. But they're like, how do you know that song? I said, well, you got to practice, because when you practice all the time, you'll hate it, and when you hate it, you know it. And I said
mm,
it's just the same thing as you know, your journey. You just gotta enjoy the process, and you know, never look at or compare yourself to anyone else, because we're totally different. You
exactly.
know, like
Exactly.
and you saying that, you know, there's so many people in the world that are totally different body shapes, different,
Yeah.
you know, health problems, and it's never going to
Yeah.
be the same. And it's going to be, you know, some people are going to take longer than others, and some people are going to get it overnight. But it you know, we just got to keep pursuing and, you
Exactly.
know, and enjoying the process. Yeah.
Exactly. Man, Joy. Oh my goodness. There's so many questions that are going through my head. I mean, yeah, what everything you just said, you know, your journey, and for you guys that are watching, everything you just went through, I would say you're an inspiration to me. Like just hearing your story just now and hearing that whole process is so inspirational, man. Like you have no idea. I think how many people, I had no idea how much I needed to hear this. I needed to hear this story, man. I mean, it's such an inspiration to see that, you know, of course, going through the tragedy of losing a parent, I couldn't even imagine. But you know, you lost both, and my condolences. You know, with that, but you know, again, you took, of course, the tragedies that happened, but then you learned from them, and you allowed, you know, you allowed yourself to be able to go through certain experiences that you went through, meeting different people. You know, you mentioned that too. You mentioned how when you were doing your 4K run, you said that when you got to the finish line, you realized it wasn't about you. It was about all your followers, all the people who are rooting for you. It's those people who help push us and gives us that sense of motivation to keep going. You know, it has to be something outside of us, because if it's just us, you know, like you said, no one likes doing the dishes. If we just focus on ourselves, we're just going to focus on what we want. But if we focus on
Mm-hmm.
what others want and what others are looking forward to in us, that pushes us and propels us to keep going. And so when you hit that, man, I think that was, out of all the things you said, that was one of the things um, that really caught my ear, and one that I can really relate to, is that pushing and getting up for others. And I think you even mentioned this before we actually started recording, and that was your family, your children. You know, I'm not sure if you have kids, but you know, or a wife, but to come,
Future,
yeah, the
yeah.
ones that are, yeah, the ones that are to come. You know, you want to be around when they're there. You want to see them, you know, grow up and then see their kids. You know, so when you said those things, man, I think not just me, but everybody that's listening can relate. But it really speaks volumes of your mentality. You said that the first 2 years you worked on your mental state, and I can see that. Like, you
Mm.
know, you may not be where you want to be. I'm not where I want to be, but you're far ahead of most people when it comes to the mental capacity and the mental state you should have when it comes to fitness. You know,
Mm.
fitness, I like to always say fitness isn't just physical. You know, that's kind of what I always say, and I'll stress you know, mental fitness and mental health. I stress that a lot, especially like a few weeks ago I stressed that on my account a lot. And that's just paying attention to, you know, what it is that you're thinking, what it is that you spend most of your time dwelling on, because it's going to be that thing that's going to help push you towards your
Mm.
goal. And if it's the wrong thing, then what happens when that thing isn't there anymore? You know, what
Mm-hmm.
happens if something happens and you can't work out? You know, you
Mm.
break your leg, or you can't move, or you know, you gain weight, or you know, are you just going to lose it and just give up in life? Or
Because
have,
it's
mm-hmm,
because you depend on the wrong things. You depend on
exactly,
things that like that really doesn't matter, but
exactly,
it matters to others. And I think that's the hardest thing, is you only can control what you can control.
yeah,
And And one of the things that I like, when people say to me, "Why do you do it?" And I said, "It's not because I want to or because I have to." I said, "My future depends on it." And that's the three things that I will say to myself all the time. It's not because I have to, or because I want to. Again, my future depends on it. And that's big to me. Like,
Yeah,
I don't have children or anything, but I have my nephews and nieces, and they're always, and I'm sure they want me to be here longer as
yeah,
well. So and but nah, like, yeah, it's the mental game of the journey is probably the biggest, and I think people struggle with that, and I can
yeah.
see it with three others. Like, yeah, you
Ooh,
can go and lift 200 kg deadlift, but hey, that doesn't take away what's in the head.
exactly.